Hello everyone, today we're diving into a game-changing management book, Good to Great. Since its release in 2001, it sold over 4 million copies, way beyond the usual business book crowd. The author, Jim Collins, is a big name in the US, a business consultant, writer, and speaker. He's all about figuring out what makes companies thrive and grow sustainably. After 5 years of research, his team studied 1,435 companies to crack the code. They zeroed in on 11 that jumped from good to truly great. So, here's the question: why do some businesses soar while others just plateau? In the business world, being good is common, but being great, that's rare. In Good to Great, Collins and his crew spent 5 years dissecting those 1,435 American companies. They found 11 standout examples that went from solid to spectacular. Their goal? To answer the million-dollar question, what's the secret to greatness? Today, we're breaking it down and unpacking how this book pulls a roadmap out of mediocrity. This isn't just theory, it's a practical wake-up call. Whether you're a manager or just someone looking to level up, there's something here for you. Part 1. Why companies stall at good, the 5 hidden traps. To get why greatness matters, we first need to see what keeps companies stuck at good. Collins' research uncovered the sneaky flaws that jam up the works like rusty screws in a machine. Let's boil them down to 5 traps and dig into how they quietly sabotage potential with extra examples to make it real. The first trap is settling for good enough. Lots of companies hit mid-tier or even top-tier status and think, hey, we're fine. Take Hasbro, a comparison case Collins highlights. It ruled the toy world with Transformers and Monopoly. They raked in cash, but got comfy with short-term wins and missed the big picture. Meanwhile, a great rival like Mattel left them in the dust. Hasbro's story shows how being good can trick you into slowing down when you should keep running. Collins found this complacency often comes from a false confidence, thinking you're ahead of most peers, so why push harder? That mindset leaves companies exposed when change hits. The second trap is sloppy discipline. Good companies often have decent plans, but they fall apart in the execution. Collins points to Walgreens, a great company that didn't rely on flashy ideas. Instead, they nailed the basics. Every store location got crunched through hundreds of data points. Even stuff like street-facing angles and parking spots was calculated to death. That discipline turned small choices into a huge edge. Compare that to CVS, another chain with big expansion dreams. Their store picks were haphazard, their follow-through weak, and profits lagged behind Walgreens. Without discipline, it's like building a sandcastle pretty until the tide rolls in. Trap 3 is short-term tunnel vision. Too many firms obsess over quarterly numbers and chase quick wins, ignoring the long haul. Collins calls out Kimberly-Clark as a cautionary tale. This paper giant slashed costs, cut staff, and skimped on R&D to look good fast. They totally missed the baby diaper boom and got left behind. Then there's Procter & Gamble, a great company that played it different. In the 80s, they launched Pampers, eating short-term losses to build something huge. Years later, they owned the market. Short-sightedness comes from craving instant results, but Collins says greatness needs planting seeds, not yanking crops early. The fourth trap is leaning too hard on superstars. Good companies love pinning success on a genius leader, but it's a risky bet. When that star exits, things crumble. Collins compares General Electric to Abbott Laboratories. Jay shone under Jack Welch, but tanked after he left. His system didn't outlast him. Abbott, a great company, leaned on teamwork instead. Their CEO, George Kane, shunned the spotlight, saying wins belong to the group. That quiet style kept them steady long-term, dodging the superstar curse. The last trap is missing the big picture. Good firms often ace one area like killer marketing or slick tech but forget how it all fits together. Collins says great companies work like a well-oiled machine, every part cinched up. Philip Morris, in a tobacco slump, didn't just tweak production. They overhauled marketing and supply chains too, pulling off a comeback. R.J. Reynolds, their rival, just pumped out new products, ignoring distribution. The result, a scattered mess. Without that whole system vibe, you're just loose sand, not a solid fist. These 5 traps are like slow burn illnesses, easy to miss, but they block the leap from good to great. Breaking free takes a clear, structured path, and that's where Colin's 7 steps come in. Part 2, the 7 steps to greatness, the Flywheel system. Collins didn't pull this stuff out of thin air. It's hard data from those 11 great companies, distilled into 7 key moves. These aren't random hacks, they're a connected system, like a flywheel spinning up from nothing to unstoppable. Let's walk through each step, with extra stories and details to bring it alive. Step 1. Level 5 Leadership. Greatness doesn't start with a rock star, it's about quiet grit. Collins calls it Level 5 Leadership, humble yet relentless. Take Abbott's George Kane, he wasn't loud, but he grew the stock 30 times in 20 years. When he took over, patents were expiring, and panic was brewing. Instead of slashing jobs, he spent 3 years rebuilding the R&D crew, landing a blockbuster drug. Then there's Kimberly-Clark's Coleman Mockler, facing shareholder heat. He stuck to his premium brand vision and yanked the company from the brink. These leaders aren't showboats, they're gardeners, tending the system, not posing as heroes. Step 2. First who, then what? Great companies don't start with a plan, they start with people. Collins uses a bus analogy: get the right folks on board, kick off the wrong ones, then pick a destination. Wells Fargo nailed this before banking rules loosened up. CEO Carl Reichardt hired top talent with no set playbook. One young manager dug into interest rates and pitched a bold loan idea that paid off big. Contrast that with Great Western Bank, they set the strategy first, then scrambled for staff. The team never gelled, and they flopped. Collins says the right people figure out the road, wrong ones just weigh you down. Step 3. Face the brutal facts. To hit greatness, you've got to stare down the ugly truth. Collins calls it the Stockdale paradox: believe you'll win, but don't dodge the mess you're in. Kroger grocery stores face Walmart head-on. They ditched 70% of their old-school shops for superstores, despite profit dips and angry investors. CEO Lyle Everingham said flat out, "We'll die if we don't change." 5 years later, they were kings of retail. A&P, their rival, pretended nothing was wrong, clinging to dying stores. They faded away. Nucor Steel's another case. CEO Ken Iverson admitted big furnaces were toast in the 70s. He switched to mini mills and saved the day. Facing facts isn't giving up, it's finding your launch pad. Step 4. The hedgehog concept. Great companies zero in on one simple, deep idea. Collins calls it the hedgehog concept, where 3 circles overlap: what you're good at, what fires you up, and what pays. Walgreens locked onto max profit per square inch. Every store hit prime corners, skipping side baits like food chains. Their per-store earnings crushed the competition. CVS spread too thin, opening tons of shops with weak returns. P&G's hedgehog was daily essentials champ, think tied to Crest, all laser-focused. It's like a hedgehog basic but unbeatable, outsmarting the sly fox every time. Step 5. A culture of discipline. Discipline isn't about rules, it's about self-driven people. Collins says great companies skip the red tape because their teams own it. Philip Morris hit a tobacco rut, but workers stepped up. They tweaked lines, even chipped in for gear, clawing back market share. Their unwritten rule: check machines 3 times daily, no slip-ups. R.J. Reynolds leaned on top-down control, bogged down by approvals. They sank. At Philip Morris, folks cleaned ash off the floor because it was their floor. That's discipline as a habit, not a chore. Step 6. technology as a booster. Tech doesn't make greatness, it speeds it up. Collins says great companies set their course first, then plug in tools. Nucor bet on mini-mill tech, but only after nailing a low-cost game plan. They tweaked it for 2 years, undercutting rivals by 20% per ton. Bethlehem Steel chased fancy furnaces with no direction, cost soared, and they busted. Walgreens waited till their profit per inch idea was solid, then added computers for inventory. Tech's a lever, not a lifeline. Use it right, or it's just noise. Step 7. The Flywheel Effect. Greatness isn't a quick fix, it builds slow, then blasts off. Collins likens it to pushing a flywheel, steady effort till it spins free. Gillette took a decade on their sensor razor. Year 1 barely sold, but they kept refining design, ads, everything. By year 5, they owned the world. Warner Lambert rushed cheap razors, switching plans yearly, total bust. Kroger's shift took 15 years, swapping stores at 10% a clip. The flywheel spun, and they won. Patience and stacking wins, that's the trick, not chasing shortcuts. These 7 steps are in a grab bag, they're a system. Level 5 leaders rally the crew, right people set the stage, brutal facts point the way. Hedgehog keeps you sharp, discipline locks it in, tech boosts it, and the flywheel makes it soar. It's all gears meshing, drop one, and it stalls. Now, let's get practical. How do you make this work? Part 3. Spinning your flywheel, making it real. All this sounds great, but if it doesn't hit the ground, it's just hot air. Collins gives us a playbook to turn those 7 steps into action. Think of them as levers to crank your own flywheel. Here's how, with concrete steps and real-world scenarios to nail it down. Lever 1. Spot your level 5 leader. Forget Cape Crusaders, your level 5 star might already be there. They're low-key but tough as nails. Maybe it's that quiet teammate who always delivers. Give them room to shine, see how they lift the group. Collins says these folks shine in tough spots, like Kane at Abbott during a patent crunch. Watch who stays cool under fire or shares the credit. Hand them a small gig, like streamlining a process. Can they pull it off without fanfare? Lever 2. Clean the bus, pick the crew. Take a month to size up your team, who's in, who's out. Wells Fargo gave folks 6 months to prove they fit the new vibe. Try this. List your people, score them on skill, vibe, and teamwork. Low scorers get a chat, shape up or ship out. Don't flinch at the short-term sting. Wells Fargo axed 30% of managers and doubled performance. Right people are gold, keep them close. Lever 3. Make a brutal list. Call a true session with your squad. Pinpoint 3 big threats and 3 weak spots, no sugarcoating. Market shrinking, tech outdated, morale tanking? Kroger wrote their woes on the wall and tackled them one by one. Grab a weekend, ditch distractions, and let it rip. Focus on one issue, set a fixed deadline like boosting customer replies in 30 days. It'll sting, but it's your flywheel's first shove. Lever 4. Sketch your hedgehog circles. Grab a sheet and jot 3 questions. What are we ace at? What lights us up? What cashes in? Where they meet, that's your hedgehog. Walgreens took 6 months to land on profit per inch. Start small, say you run a diner, great at noodles, love tweaking flavors, and bank on regulars. Zoom in on killer noodle vibes, ditch the side hustles, and check profits in 90 days. Lever 5. Build a discipline checklist. Pick 3 daily must-dos and stick to them. Daily stock checks, weekly data huddles, monthly client chats, whatever fits. Philip Morris had folks tweak something tiny every day. It stacked up huge. Try a 9 a.m. 5-minute check-in for a week, tasks on track. If someone slacks, don't yell, ask why, then fix it. Discipline's a muscle, work it. 6. Pick tech that fits. Don't chase shiny toys, does it juice your hedgehog? Nucor stuck to mini mills because it matched their cheap steel mojo. E-commerce. Test a tool to track beer habits, not a fully AI overhaul. Run it a month. Did conversions climb? Text a helper, not the boss. Lever 7. Break down the flywheel. Chop big goals into bite-sized chunks you can track. Profit boost. Start with store sales, then supply tweaks, then new gear. Gillette went from razor sketches to test runs to global domination. Map yours, train staff, tweak based on feedback, then push ads. 1 step a month, check it in 6 spinning yet. Slow and steady beats all in chaos. These levers aren't magic, they're a machine you build. Tune it like an engineer, it won't roar overnight, but each push adds juice. Picture this, you've got a 10-person shop. Find a steady deputy, pick 3 ace teammates, list why clients ditch you. Nail 1 killer product, check quality daily, use a basic CRM, and review quarterly. 6 months later, cash might double. Part 4, From Med to Masterpiece, what it all means. Good to Great isn't a get-rich-quick manual, it's a mirror. It shows what's broken and sketches the path to awesome. Collins' 11 companies prove luck's not the ticket, it's the system. From leaders to fly heels, it's all locked together. Let's zoom out. What else can we take from this? Why did Walgreens crush it while CVS floundered? Why did Nucor rise as Bethlehem sank? It's those 7-step simple moves, tough to stick with. Pick people, face facts, focus tight, stay disciplined, use tech smart, build slow. Easy to say, brutal to do. Greatness demands long-game guts, not quick fixes. These companies weren't born perfect, they stumbled too. Gillette botched 3 razor tries but kept tweaking till they won. Greatness isn't flawlessness, it's growing through the flops. For you personally, this hits home. Want to go from average to awesome? Act like a level 5 leader, grind quietly, push hard. Spend 30 minutes daily on a skill, no bragging, just stacking. List your weak spots, procrastination, set alarms. Find your hedgehog writings, your jam and pays, double down, skip the noise. Flywheel at 5 minutes of running today, 50 in a year. Kane started as a nobody at Abbott, persistence made him a legend. Scale it up, teams, schools, towns. A school picks a visionary principal, hires fired-up teachers, admits test scores suck. They hone core classes, track lessons daily, plug in online tools, and lift grad rates step by step. A neighborhood starts with safer streets, builds to a standout spot. This system flexes anywhere, it's universal. The big takeaway, greatness isn't a finish line, it's a way of being. You've got to smash comfort zones, defy good enough. Those great firms shine not because they're flawless, but because they dared past okay. P&G was a soap shack once every shift. They pivoted, now they're giants. That's the book's real gift, not just how to, but a nudge to move. It's your alarm clock, don't snooze on fine, because average is always lurking. So, what's next? Stay cozy and good, or start cranking that flywheel. I'm betting you've got it in you. Start moving, and great's not a dream, it's coming. Manager, startup hustler, or just you, this is your map. It's not about where you're at, it's about taking that first step. The flywheel's ready, give it a push,